One of the things that has kept me sharp as a professional fisherman over the years is, one, never being satisfied with my knowledge of the game, regardless of what the game is, whether it's inshore, offshore, fly fishing, light tackle, whatever. And taking time every once in a while throughout the year to try new things, to go out by myself, regain not having to entertain somebody as a client or fish a tournament. I can go out there, do the setups, try different setups, try different techniques. I'm always enhancing my ability to produce fish. The fishing's always changing. The fish are getting tougher all over the world because our techniques have gotten better and better and better, and the fish are adapting to that. So as a fisherman, I gotta adapt. It's awesome for me to occasionally take some solo days throughout the year. It sharpens my game, it hones those techniques, but also allows me a little time and effort to try new ones.
Got him on, boys. Doesn't know he's hooked yet. There he goes, tail walking.
Fishing is fishing. It's not called catching. And Mother Nature plays a big role in it. Conditions play a big role in it, time of year. A lot of the fish I fish for are migratory, and weather patterns have changed across the U.S. We have warmer winters here in South Florida than we traditionally had. The current is a little different than it traditionally was. So the constant saying, okay, I'm gonna sailfish from November to April, like the old days, doesn't exist. We have windows of time and windows of opportunity when the conditions are perfect, when the sailfishing is great. As a fisherman, to produce on a daily basis, you gotta keep enhancing your techniques to keep up with those hard times.
This time of year, they like ballyhoo. It's what they encounter a lot. They're a lot livelier when you hook and line them like this, believe it or not, than when you throw the net on them.
Here in South Florida and the Florida Keys, we have a wintertime sailfish migration. In other words, these fish go all the way up into the Carolinas and even further north of that. They follow the Gulf Stream in the summer months. As the conditions start to change into the fall, the bait starts moving south, the fish kind of follow. But these sailfish have another strategy as well. Besides following the bait along their path and their southerly migration, they're on their way to a spawning location, which tends to be out in the Atlantic or Caribbean, closer to Mexico. There's been masses of sailfish over the years sighted. I've actually witnessed that myself. I ran a boat one time from Key West all the way to the Yucatan, 410 miles, and witnessed thousands of sailfish 50 miles off the coast of Mexico. Tens of thousands. I mean, I've never seen so many sailfish in my life. So here in the wintertime in the Florida Keys and South Florida, we're trying to intercept these fish on their migratory route. Our reef here isn't a straight line. It kind of follows the contour of the land and the Keys chain. It kind of curves, starts off north and south, curves to the southwest, curves further west. Once you get to about the middle part of the Keys, the reef is pretty much running east and west, not north and south anymore. So along that coral structure that we call a reef, there are points that stick out. There are little gullies, little dips in the reef, which affect current flow. We tend to want to, when we have current, line up or kind of stage and get our bait set up, if the conditions allow, with the wind and the current and so forth, on points. So in other words, if a fish is traveling on the inner skirts, maybe he's in 60 to 80 feet of water, right where the reef drops off. He's following that inner contour, but he hits this point and he has to kind of go out around it. But right where that point comes and that fish goes out around it, it's 120 feet of water. So any fish that's traveling between 60 and 120 is kind of gonna go around that little point, and we're gonna intercept that fish because we're on that intercept point of the reef. There's a lot of strategy in our sailfishing here, and it's not just let's just go outside the reef, put them out and hope we get a bite. There are places you line up. There's a way you want to try and face the boat so the fish intercept the baits before they intercept the boat. As I said earlier, these fish are generally moving from north to south. So in a perfect world, we have a north current, so the current's running from south to north. Our boat is facing, the south, southeast. Our baits are laid out behind the boat to the north. That's a great scenario so that the fish encounter the baits first. They're not being spooked by the boat. And fishing by myself allows me to try different things. It allows me to try new hooks. It allows me to try new leader material, new line, new ways to put the baits out faster without having to entertain a client or be in a situation where we're in a tournament and this isn't a time to be trying anything. This is honing my skills to get me better so that when it matters, I'm better. The whole team's better.
Come on, fish. Get a big cold front like this. All the ballyhoo inshore come out to the reef edge. You get these really bright sunny days, north wind. It's just blowing the ballyhoo off the reef just a little bit. You'll get the sailfish in here shallow, 30, 40 feet of water. Look for the birds, look for the bait showers. It's kind of like a sight fishing situation. This guy just caught one. We came in here and the birds went up, bait went down.
Here is the hazardous weather outlook for Atlantic coastal waters. Hazardous marine conditions will continue across Atlantic waters as northeasterly winds range from 20 to 25 knots. Hazardous marine conditions will continue across Atlantic waters through the end of the week due to a strong northeasterly wind flow and a northeasterly swell. High rip current risk now in effect.
Well, it started out a pretty day. South Florida, Florida Keys, it can change quick. It's freaking nasty. But sometimes this can offer some great sail fishing. Let's see what happens.
So the goal is to catch sailfish. The conditions look reasonable. The weather was up and down, changing. It was kind of a big front line coming through. I mean, 1 minute the sun's out, next thing a big storm system's coming through, the wind changing, the wind's up, it's down. We're having all these different conditions. After we've caught bait, I went out to the edge, got the line set up, got the boat set up, everything's looking good, waiting on a bite, and it didn't take long. Saw some ballyhoo spraying on the edge, kind of got the boat in position. It turned out to be a little school of mahi.
Little dolphin. Didn't even get the first bait all the way out yet. Got a bite. It's a good sign, I hope.
Caught a decent mahi, days off to a good start.
There we go. Nice dolphin. Not a sailfish, but I'll take a dolphin. I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty damn sporty out here. You know, being out here in these conditions by myself, if I didn't have cameramen in the boat, I would damn sure have a life jacket on and probably a safety line. And there's some 10-foot seas today. It's blowing 25. I'm not wearing a life jacket. I got a couple guys in the boat filming. My point is leaning over to land a big fish. Things can happen like really quick. Not a giant dolphin, but a good one for dinner. That was fun.
We're plugging away. You know, the conditions are still changing. As the day progressed, the current edge moved out a little deeper. I got set up out a little deeper. It didn't take long before the blackfins found us.
Not a sailfish.
The cool thing about blackfin tuna are they bust the baits on the surface. They'll chase them up to the surface and actually use the surface as an enhancing way for them to catch the bait. Though a fish can swim and dart, the deeper he goes, he can get away. When he gets up to the top, he's got to start jumping. That allows those blackfin, sailfish, mahis, all those game fish to catch their prey easily.
Little blackfin. Dinner. take a tuna for dinner. Not what we were really out here to catch, but if you're gonna catch something else, I'll take this any day. Feeling like a tuna, maybe. Yeah, definitely a tuna. Yep, another blackfin. A little bigger tuna there.
I moved out to a little deeper water. There's a little bit of an edge forming here. When I talk about edges, you have a current line that is meeting a different current line. In other words, there's a change where it creates a seam in the water. As the water flows down the reef, it will create these current seams, and that tends to be a place where predatory fish will channel their movement. Sure enough, this current seam seemed to pay off. There's nothing like seeing a sailfish come up on a live bait. The first fish we encountered, I fed him, closed the bail, get tight, does a spectacular little greyhound across the transom. Oh, came up empty, you know, pulled the hook. Just pulled the hook, damn it. Finally, we get a sailfish bite. You know, the excitement level goes up. Now the anticipation's high that maybe we're in the right zone. Get set back up, get the baits back out, get the boat heading in the right direction. We're bumping in and out of gear, and it didn't take long. We have a second showing of a sailfish. Got him on, boys. Doesn't know he's hooked yet. There he goes. Acting funny. Now he knows he's hooked. Tail walking.
If you haven't already, go to my website, theseahuntertv.com. You can watch past episodes, shop apparel, book a fishing charter with the Seahunter Fishing Group, and watch some behind the scenes. Got him on, boys. Doesn't know he's hooked yet. There he goes. Tail walking. Of course, when you got multiple lines out, it's very common in the sailfish scenario that right upon hookup, they run across, your spread. So you have other lines tangled in the line that you're fighting the fish with. When you're solo, that's a chance that if you let yourself just spaz out, you're gonna make wrong decisions, and this is the time to keep your head clear, move quickly,
but know that I need to clear this one first, that one second, that one third, move the boat in this direction to chase this fish. All the while you're trying to keep the line tight with the rod that you actually are connected to the fish with. So there's a lot of moving parts here. I like the challenge. I've always liked challenging myself to see if I can get through situations like this, and that's part of the fun for me. Here he is right here. Caught fish, boys, got the leader. That is so badass. It's freaking chaotic when you're doing it by yourself. You got lines out everywhere. Got one of my longs wrapped up in it. Come out with your hands up, buddy. Never fails. They tail walk right through your whole spread and get everything wrapped up. Man, these fish are so badass. They just got such a will to live. They jump like nothing else. They're fast. Fastest fish in the sea right there. And then they do this. Perseverance. We had perseverance to catch this sucker, man. It's been tough. I don't know what we got where here. This was a typical sailfish fight at the beginning. We get the release pretty quick. We get the leader up. Thought we were kind of done. Clear it is. Clear it is. Now we can do something. Just wanted to make sure I had nothing in the motors. He put on a good show there for a while. Now he's getting deep. It's kind of like taking a knife to a gunfight when you're sailfishing by yourself. Multiple lines, shit everywhere. In this aspect, when you gotta chase them. A lot of people, when sailfish go deep, they make the mistake of getting right on top of the fish. And you change the angle so much that you're pulling, straight up and down. You're better off getting off the fish. As that fish swims away, the angle of your line starts pulling more against him and it'll actually plane him up. I let this fish get away a little bit. Now it feels like he's coming up to the surface slowly. It's turned into a battle. The other line I had crossed up on it. I really should be fighting that fish right now, but I don't want to be leaving a mile of frickin' line out there. This one broke when that fish started jumping. It's becoming work. Come on, buddy. I'm gonna let you go. Man, it was a freaking epic bite. He ate one of the short baits. I just happened to look right back at the bait right when he ate it. Right on the surface, he was black like a trash bag. Thing about sailfishing, sometimes it's not on fire. It's just like you gotta just keep trying and be in the right water. But when you have slow times and you see a bite like that, it's worth the slow times. Scope of the line's changing. He's coming up towards the surface now. The other thing out here is there's all kind of buoys. These big fish traps they put out in these giant buoys, 150 feet of water, so you got to watch for that too to make sure you don't drift into one of them while you're fighting the fish. Ah, you bastard. sailfish fight kind of started normal, you know, with the big tail walking jumps, the big runs. After the chaos of getting all the lines cleared and the boat chase was over, we get the release. We realize this fish is actually hooked in the shoulders. Sometime during the fight, on one of the jumps, the hook became detached from his mouth and reattached into the back of the fish. So now I'm playing tug of war with the wrong end. I can't lead this fish the way I want to. So fish goes deep, I'm trying to get him up to the boat, and inevitably, though we got the release, we got the leader and the rod, we got some cool shots of him boat side, this fish runs under the boat last minute and cuts off on something, the lower unit or the bottom of the hull. All in all, I got the best out of this fish. You know, I didn't get to remove the hook, but I used steel hooks. They rust out quickly. I got the fun of sailfish. This was a great day. I got to try some new techniques, caught enough fish for dinner, and I look forward to trying some of these new techniques down the road. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
I've been chasing shadows, crossing county lines, living off of money. I could steal or find, now it's over. At least that's what they